Compassion over control. That's the thing that just like comes to mind. Hello, I'm Maria. I am a Ph.D. fellow at the University of Albany. I'm studying educational psychology and methodology. My focus is on special ed and emotional and behavioral disorders, and teacher-student relationships. And I'm also a teacher of grades 1 through 6. So I am here right now to share with you a little bit about myself, about my story, and about how I got to where I am now. So I hope you enjoy. If you want to reach out and you have any questions or comments or anything, you can leave a comment. You can email me. I'll put my email in the description. I really want to be able to continue this discussion with you. I had moved upstate New York for a relationship, and in New York State, you have to get your master's after you get your teaching certification within the first 5 years, or it's like you lose your certification. So I was getting my master's, and I was also subbing in a school. I think that trying to have too much control over the classroom kind of blocked me off to really seeing the kids, really hearing the kids, and really just being a human to them. I think I felt like unless I had total control over the classroom, I was failing. I started to just kind of pull kids aside, talk to them, build relationships with them. I took the time that I needed to make sure that like everybody was in a good place, or else if the classroom wasn't safe and if people weren't comfortable, then they weren't able to learn anyway. I think I learned to kind of make an adjustment and prioritize kids' comfort and those relationships and bringing compassion to those relationships. And I think that that is what made any other practice that I tried to implement more effective. I was doing that for a while, finished my master's, moved to Chile for a teaching position, and I was super excited because I was like, okay, I'm going to have my own classroom of third graders. This is awesome. I loved it. I loved being able to create a classroom environment. I loved being able to build relationships with my students. It was like a little classroom family, and it was just everything I thought, teaching should be. For the most part, there was a lot of other stuff with, administration or curriculum that kind of got in the way of my joy some of the time. And I got really frustrated sometimes when I felt like there were kids who weren't really getting what they needed. And I remember that this one other teacher that I was working with at the time, her advice to me was that I just needed to stop caring. And I just thought, what do you mean? I can't stop caring. Like that's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this, because I care. I thought that there had to be another solution to being a good teacher and not getting burnt out and, fighting for your kids and not getting so emotionally invested that it just like drains you. And I think that there is. I think it's compassion, because compassion is different than empathy is what I've been learning. And like when you have too much emotional empathy, you can burn out easier. You get too attached to those emotions. You actually take them on and you feel those emotions yourself. You feel your students' struggles yourself. And like if you're feeling all of that pain, it can paralyze you. But if you can look at that pain or suffering with compassion, then you're more likely to act on it and you're more likely to just do something to help. I remember there was this one student, and I worked with her the whole year. In the beginning, we were getting into these power struggles, and I remember I made her cry once, and my students all like looked at me like, "Miss, like what'd you do?" And I was like, "Oh my God, what did I do?" Like I definitely just made her cry because I made that worse. Like I had the power to see what she was going through and just let up on her, but I kept pushing her and being like, no, you know this, you can answer this question, I know that you know. Like, you have the answer right there, just tell me what it is, instead of being like, maybe she's not comfortable right now and she doesn't want to participate. Like, that's okay. And so I worked with her throughout the whole year and, came up with like this point system for her to work on the things that like her and I decided together with her mom that, these are things that would be important for her. She was the type of kid that like the smallest little thing to me or to somebody else would be big enough to her to set her off into like just like a total shutdown. Like, she would just shut down, she would cry, or she would just go silent. And I remember it was like one of the last days of school and we were taking things off of the wall, and she went to take down a piece of paper like off the wall and it ripped a little bit, and I was like, oh no, here we go. And she just looked at me and she was like, Miss, what can we do? And I was like, oh my god, like, this is it. This is like that one small change. Like, we made a difference. Like we were able to change her mindset and her attitude from being like, this is the end of the world, to like, let's problem solve and what can we do? And I was just like, this is great. And that's something that I want to teach other teachers to do, because it's possible. And I guess that's why I came back for the PhD, because I decided that I wanted to help other teachers, and I want other teachers to be able to, form good connections and relationships with their students, and I want them to be able to do so without burning out. But now I'm in the PhD program and I'm back into school subbing, and it's weird because like when you do all this research and you're reading all of this research, you think that everything is changing because you're reading about all these changes, but then you get back into a school and you're like, no, nothing's really changing. Like, horrible things are still going on in classrooms sometimes, and like, there's a lot of teachers who are burning out, and I think that it's probably partly due to the pandemic, partly due to not having enough time to plan and prep and like system level stuff. But all of that just makes me realize that there's a bigger problem than just, teachers learning how to have compassion over empathy, or teachers learning how to practice self-care and being better at self-regulating. It's that systems aren't really providing teachers with the support that they need to really be the best teachers they can be. And there are a lot of times where I see like students aren't really getting what they need, and it's not necessarily for lack of resources as it is sometimes. Basically what we do in schools, in my opinion, is here's the mold. Here is the mold that we want you to fit. You need to learn using these methods. If you don't fit this mold and you don't respond to these teaching methods and practices, then special ed, problem child, I don't know what's wrong with you. Meanwhile, it's not the kid. It's, okay, this kid doesn't fit that mold. That doesn't mean there's a problem with that kid. That means that the mold is too generic, or the mold should be smashed into a bunch of pieces because kids shouldn't have to fit a certain mold. Like, I can't find the words right now, but there's this quote, I think Ram Dass said it, and he said, if I have a problem with your behavior, the problem isn't with the behavior, the problem is with my model of what that behavior should look like or what that behavior should be. The problem is with the model. And that just resonates with me a lot when it comes to education and kids. And yeah, I'm on a mission here, I feel like, and that mission is not only to help kids get what they need, but to help parents and teachers. And I just want everybody keep forgetting this is here. I just want everybody to be able to communicate and, just learn together and grow together. Like, we need to involve parents and families more in their kids' education. Like, I think too often we discredit parents and don't realize like how much they have to offer. Like, those parents know those kids their whole lives. Like, you've only known the kid as a teacher for, however many months. Like, if you can have consistency between like the home and the classroom, and the kid sees that all of these people are working together and working with me, then you're more likely to get the kid on board. You're more likely to be giving the kid what they actually need. And I just think that things would be better overall. So that was a little bit more than I planned to talk about, but I think that kind of sums up how I ended up in a PhD program and like what it is that I'm feeling called to do. Compassion over control. That's the thing that just like comes to mind. Anyway, let me know which parts of that resonated with you. Let me know if you want to hear more about a specific part of my journey, or if there's anything you're interested in learning more about within education. Even if it's something I didn't mention, like, tell me what you want to learn about, and I do research, so I can do research on that, and I can convey it in like a super easy to understand, quick, and informative way.